What's up, Twitch? What's up, chat? How you guys making out on this beautiful Tuesday? What's up to the YouTube membership? I really appreciate y'all checking this out on YouTube. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. Comment on what your favorite segment was of this episode. Also, give me your input. Give me your opinion. I want to hear from you guys. If you agree with some of the things I say, if you disagree, and also I want to know who you guys think is going to win in the playoffs, because that's what time we're in right now. It is the NFL playoffs, man. Both the wild card round and the divisional round are some of the most exciting weekends of the year, because we get 4 NFL playoff games. There's nothing better than that single elimination NFL playoff games, man. So it really was a great weekend, a wild card weekend. We're going to get into all of that and obviously talk about the divisional round next weekend, where the big boys come out. All the teams that had a bye, they will be out. And I love watching these tight games and see how some of the game situations and the game management coincides with Madden. It's definitely something I like to pay attention to and really would love to talk about on the podcast. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I mean, it's a quiet couple weeks here for Madden. I mean, everybody's gearing up for the club championships that will take place at the end of this month. The end of January, everybody's going to go out to Vegas to finish up the Final Fours. And on top of that, once they get to the Final 32, that will be in Redwood, California, which is just south of San Francisco. So that's pretty much what everybody's gearing up for. You haven't heard a lot of noise from Madden people. Not a lot of people are playing on stream. Not a lot of people are, exposing what they want to do for these couple weeks here. It's really everybody's locked in with their camp, really trying to get better at the game, really trying to prepare themselves, and especially this last week when you had to get your lineup in. And like I said, man, and then you guys that are going out, I have played a lot of different Madden players this last week that are preparing to go out for clubs. That's part of the reason why I haven't really played much Madden on stream, because when I'm off stream, I'm playing a lot of these top guys, and I've learned a lot in the last week about how the game is being played right now. I've got a lot of things from them that I can steal for myself, and I don't really want to run anything that I took from somebody else before they go into clubs or help anybody else out, and I'm really tempted to start running some different things or add a couple wrinkles to my offense and my schemes, and I really don't want to put that out there for the rest of the world right before clubs. So I've been kind of gearing back to Madden a little bit until after clubs, or if I do play, it'll be watered down or something like that. So that's kind of where everybody is with the Madden right now. Everybody's really prepared. Everybody's really in their dungeon getting ready. And next week, one thing I wanted to do was really go over who my favorites are with each club. And that's something we will definitely talk about next week. But the biggest news that happened, in my opinion, in this last week in Madden is people got their emails. Everybody got their emails about what to expect at the live event, how to behave, the schedule, I'm assuming, itinerary in most part. But the biggest thing was that we now have a dress code in Madden, and that's pretty wild. It's pretty alarming. And then, I know a lot of people in the gaming industry, and there's really no dress code for any other game. And a lot of games are a lot larger than Madden are in the esports era, between Overwatch, obviously Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, all these Fortnites, all this stuff. There's really, to have a dress code is something that's unprecedented, not really in esports before. And, first and foremost, what goes to me is like, why would this happen? I can't remember a time where somebody's just apparel or something was that big of a distraction, or was that big of a topic or an idea or something to talk about. I can't even remember a specific time where that was, a big deal. Even, how the Twitch chat is, man. If somebody has some torn up clothes, we would know about it instantly from the Twitch chat. So I really don't know where it's coming from. And someone made a comment on Twitter, and I'll show you guys this, because Mo was the one. Obviously, you guys know Serious Mo, one of the best man players ever. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter if you don't already, man. But like I said, he was the one who brought it to light. He posted his email like, man, why would they ban shorts and sweatpants? And it's weird, because that's normally what we play with at home. I don't know what you guys wear at home and play Madden all day. Normally, I'm in my drawers, or I'm in some ripped up sweats, or I'm in some bummy clothes that I wore throughout the day. And that's, we probably play thousands of games of Madden, and that's kind of what you get accustomed to wearing to. So, for me personally, every time I went to a live event, every time I went to a Madden tournament, I was pretty much always in sweatpants. So it would definitely be a little bit different for me to wear something other than sweatpants on the stage up there. So, but people are going to have to I don't want to say get accustomed to it, but kind of, you know, plan for it. You know, you're not going to be able to wear your sweats or your shorts. Pretty soon you're not going to be able to wear sneakers or anything like that. So it's definitely something that is going to be different going forward. I wonder how many people try to sneak their sweatpants in, or how strictly they're going to be with this. It's something that, I mean, we're all going to pay attention to. Mostly someone commented that they don't pay enough money to enforce a dress code on us, and that's interesting, because obviously the first thing we all want to say is, yeah, you're right, they're not paying enough to tell us how to dress, to tell us what to do, what to wear. We can only wear these brands, we can't wear Jordans, we can't wear Timberlands, we can't do this, that, and the third, but you guys aren't paying us enough. And to me, obviously, like I said, the knee-jerk reaction is say, yeah, they got to pay us more, but maybe this is a chicken before the egg situation, in that maybe if we uphold to a standard to where we're more professional, then at the end of the day, it'll come back around where we start getting paid more. You know, maybe that's the end game in the dress code situation. Maybe that's where they want to go, and hopefully it is, because I've been a big stickler of the fact that I feel like we should all get paid more money that compete at Madden at that high of a level and have that much success. I think ultimately that is the goal, that we get paid more, and maybe the dress code is a step towards that. Like I said, I really don't see it being necessary. I really don't see the reason why they would enforce that. You know, it's definitely something that pretty much affects every Madden player, because I can't think, other than Kiv, who's the supermodel, you know, fashion superstar, I can't even think of another player that wore jeans and like slacks or something like that at a live event. Maybe Stiffmeister. I could see Stiffmeister going with this, the substitute teacher slacks and the little golf shirt that he had on. Stiffmeister might have had slacks on. Not really sure if there was anybody else that would wear slacks or jeans at a live event, man. It's definitely something we're going to have to deal with. And, you know, like I said, guys, get your best jeans out. And as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to ban sweatpants, they got to ban the Kiv jeans with rips in them. How is it cool to have jeans with rips all over them, holes in them, but I can't wear sweatpants? I think that is discrimination to the lesser fortunate that don't have the economic, you know, availability that somebody like young Kiv has, and can go out there and buy the $600 jeans with rips in them. You know, but me, I just want to wear my sweatpants from Models that were $25. You know, that's all I want to do. But, you know, so as far as I'm concerned, if they're going to ban sweatpants, we have to ban clothes with rips in them and holes in them and stuff like that, because that looks worse than a nice pair of black joggers, in my opinion, every day of the week. But like I said on Twitter, man, this is just a way to make sure Kiv continues to win, man, because he's the one that's comfortable up there in the jeans and the slacks and, you know, the dress pants and all that fancy Givenchy stuff. That's definitely up his alley. So I really feel like EA is catering to him and make sure he's comfortable. Now they're forcing us to all dress like Kiv, and that's really going to deter how we play. You know, I like my legs and my ass being free when I play. You know, I don't really like, you know, a lot of, you know, tightness right there. I like to be able to stretch out, you know, pause. But it's definitely something that's up Kiv's alley. So, like I said, as long as they ban the ripped jeans and all those things, I'm cool with the banning sweatpants, man. We got to have everybody out here in straight Dockers, you know, the wrinkle-free, you know, with the nice pleat in them. Definitely need that. You know, if everybody gets to wear that, I'm cool with it. But I am going to start to develop some Needed Gaming jeans and some Needed Gaming slacks. Also, might come in with the jacket with, you know, the Needed Gaming on the inside, or the Needed Gaming just on the back, something like that. Whatever can be used at the live event, I will find a way to use it. But I know we all can't wait to see what these kids wear when the end of January comes in. I hope they stream every game. I hope they get a good look at everybody's Sunday best. And fellas, man, if you wear slacks, you can't wear sneakers. If you wear Dockers, you can't wear sneakers. I just get a nice pair of shoes. If you need some help with this, man, hit up Young Kiv on Twitter. He will help you pick out some shoes to go with your khakis, to go with your slacks, to go with whatever you choose to wear. He'll help you pick out some shoes, man. You can get the wing tips. You can get the toe caps with the tight. You can get a bunch of different shoes, man. Hit up DSW, you get a nice pair for $60, $70. That'll last you a long time, man. But don't wear sneakers with khakis. It's very tacky. But that's just my opinion. But we'll see. So, like I said, hit up Kiv. for all your dress code and how to comply to the dress code. I mean, it's definitely going to be a challenging experience for all you guys. And I know how the Madden community is. It's already probably the worst dressed community in video games. And this is going to culture shock it. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise. It will help most of you guys that sit at home in your sweats and your wife beaters and things of that nature to go out there and get you a nice pair of jeans, get you a nice pair of slacks, and really improve your dress code. Because women like when you dress nice. That's definitely a good thing to improve on. So hopefully, ultimately, this becomes a blessing for the Madden community rather than something that we're kind of like confused about. But we'll see if they change anything about it in the next couple of weeks here. But if you're going out to Vegas, make sure you pack those nice clothes, man. And that's pretty much the biggest news in the MCS this week. I mean, there's really hasn't been a game since, shoot, couple of weeks now. The last games we saw were the Madden Classic. The last club series was the Minnesota Vikings, which I went over last week. So we're getting on about a month now with no games. So we're really anxious to get into the Madden Club Championship, which is the biggest tournament of the year. $700,000 out of the $1 million prize pool. That's 70% for those of you that aren't that sharp with math. So it's the biggest tournament of the year. It's definitely something that everybody's locked in for. So we're getting ready for it. Probably 2 weeks here. We're going to start getting into some games. But speaking of games, like I said, it was wild card weekend this weekend, and it was honestly, I wasn't too excited about some of the matchups between the Colts and the Texans. Wasn't too excited about that. Obviously, rooting against the Cowboys is always fun, even though they got the win. And even the Chargers-Ravens was pretty good. I think they're two really good teams. Probably the second and third best defense behind the Chicago Bears. And I mean, the Chicago Bears, I got to talk about the Eagles first and foremost. You guys know I'm a huge Eagles fan. The Eagles are back. In case you guys didn't notice, the Super Bowl champion Eagles are all the way back. Nick Foles is just something special. I think he's terrible. I think he has a noodle arm. He's not athletic, but he just gets it done. You know, he just has that factor about him. When it's clutch time, when it's a big game, he just continues to show up. When he needs to make a throw, he needs to make a play, he consistently gets it done. It's been 2 years in a row now where he's really put the team on his back, so to say. And everybody stepped up. The defense stepped up to go ahead and beat the #1 defense in the league on the road. In the first round of the playoffs, that was a really impressive win. Obviously the best drives in Eagle history, going down there down 5 points. He was down 6 points there. No, he was down 5 points. So he went down, got the touchdown on 4th and goal. I mean, that was a huge play. Obviously, Cody Parkey got the kick tipped, and it hit the upright twice, which is just more Foles magic, man. There's something special about that guy. He just ignites the whole team, man. Once they get that underdog feeling, they didn't play all that well this year. Probably because they were the front runner in most games, man. After coming off the Super Bowl, nobody doubted them. Nobody took them for granted. Nobody took it easy on them. And they really didn't. They played really mediocre the whole year. And once their backs got all the way up against the wall after that loss to Dallas, where they couldn't lose any more games, they really played like a different team. And once Foles get in, everybody knows they have to step up their game, including the coach. I feel like he calls a different game. He calls an easier game plan for Nick Foles. It's not as much on his shoulders as they put on Carson Wentz's shoulders. Another thing about that Bears game, man, they really couldn't run the ball for anything, and they really stuck to it, which is something Eagles fans have been clamoring about since the beginning of time, man. Stick to the run, stick to the run. And they really did, even more so than the Bears did, because the Bears kind of abandoned the run there in that game, and the Eagles really stuck with it, even though it was getting 1 yard, 2 yards. It was something like 20 of their 30 called runs went for 2 yards or less, something like that. So they really didn't move the ball at all on the ground, but they really stuck to it, and it wound up coming up. Nick Foles wound up coming up as big as possible, you know. So, I mean, after the missed kick, you know, you just go to New Orleans where the Eagles got blown out. But we'll talk about the division round in a little bit here. I got to go back to the Cowboys. Obviously, I root against the Cowboys at all costs. I don't hate them as much as I used to because they really just haven't had success in the last 20 years for me to hate. But then once you realize how obnoxious the Cowboys fans are, that hate just starts bubbling in your chest again. You know, you don't want them to get their third playoff win in 20 years. You want them to stay on the 2 little measly playoff wins they had. But I mean, Seattle looked lost on offense, man. For them to have that good of a quarterback and some decent playmakers between Baldwin and Lockett and some decent running backs in the backfield, I mean, they really looked lost. I don't know if it was coaching, but as far as I'm concerned, you have to give credit to the Dallas Cowboys defense. That's what they're going to hang their hat on here in the playoffs. That's what they hung their hat on all year, man. Defense and running the ball with Elliott. Dak Prescott is the weakest point of the team, but if they ask him to just make a couple plays here and there, use his legs like he did in that game, they can be really effective. It's definitely a huge game coming up for them with the Rams, but for them to go ahead and beat Seattle fairly easily, that was probably I mean, between the Texans game, all the other games, the Eagles game was the best game by far. It was the closest game, the only game that was really had any type of situation for clutch drives and clutch situations was the Eagles game. Cowboys game was kind of over. Seattle couldn't move the ball at all. And then we go on to the Texans and the Colts. And then obviously I picked the Texans last week. I thought they would get it done. Deshaun Watson looked like he was not ready. He just didn't look good. But ultimately I felt like the Colts really beat up the Texans on the line of scrimmage, man. Their defensive line killed the Texans' offensive line, and that's one of the reasons. Once Deshaun Watson got uncomfortable, it looked like he was uncomfortable, really. And vice versa, man. The Colts, as much as Andrew Luck is good, Frank Wright, former Eagle offensive coordinator, is looking really good, but their offensive line is what has made their offense so good. They have Marlon Mack, who, I mean, isn't LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, he's not amazing in the running back position, but he definitely is getting it done behind that offensive line with the quarterback and the wide receivers to go ahead and put a threat into the defense. Opens up things for Marlon Mack, so their offensive line is really playing well. And when you look back at the Houston Texans, man, I think it's a really disappointing year for them because, I mean, they got hurt. Their wide receiver core really got hurt with a lot of injuries. They don't have a star running back, but they have their young quarterback, and he's on the rookie contract. So you have about 4 years with that. And the biggest thing for me is that the Texans wasted a year in which J.J. Watt and Clowney were both healthy. We both know the situations they've had in their careers with their health, both Watt and Clowney, and to have both of them 100% healthy for an entire year and not make a deep playoff run, it's got to be disappointing for Houston because who knows where their health's going to be in the future. To have both of those cornerstone defensive line players healthy and still kind of waste the season's got to be disappointing, and also still the quarterback on a rookie contract's got to be disappointing, man. So they're going forward, obviously, I think they're going to need some type of running back, and I think they need a little help up the middle there. Obviously, they had the two great DNs that really caused problems, but if they got a nice fat guy in the middle there, it would really help them out. And Seattle, I mean, as far as Seattle's concerned, man, I thought they had fell off a cliff when obviously they lost their whole Legion of Boom, but they're really retooling really well, and honestly, you got to give Pete Carroll a lot of credit. With somebody that was looking dark between last year and with the Sherman and Earl Thomas situation now. It's looking like he's losing them, but they made the playoffs again. Disappointing loss to a team that I don't think the Cowboys are that good. They probably expected to beat the Cowboys, but it was a disappointing loss. So I'll see where they go from here. Definitely for them, I think offensive line seems to always be the issue when you talk about Seattle, but I think they still have a bright future because that defense was so good, Legion of Boom era, but they kind of replenished it. Has a lot of youth on that field, and they're really playing well. So we'll see where they go from here. Obviously, it's going to be tough to win the NFC West from here on out with the Rams looking like a powerhouse here for the next couple years to come. But we'll see how the Seahawks do and the other team. Obviously, the Bears. A lot to be said about the Bears. Obviously, they let the Eagles in the playoffs by beating the Vikings, which in hindsight now, you let the defending Super Bowl champions, who were one of the hotter teams in the league, into the playoffs, as opposed to the Vikings, which I feel like the Bears could have beat the Vikings 15 times in a row. But to me, it establishes, like, this was Matt Nagy's first year, so to me, it establishes a winning culture, a winning attitude. You know, he's going to be there. In his mind, he's going to be there for 10 years. You know, so for his first year out the gate, he's not going to lay down to a team because he's afraid to play them. That's not the image. That's not the culture. That's not the idea he's going to set. He's going to set that I'm going to win every game. He's going to set I'm not afraid of who gets in the playoffs. Also, I'm going to knock the Vikings out. I'm going to continue to own the Vikings and the NFC North. And I think going forward is the right move. It's the right idea for his team and for his organization. It's the right move as a coach to establish that winning tradition. and it's something you always look up to and be like, man, we're not afraid of anybody. Our goal is to develop a championship-winning organization, not a team that just wants to win the first round of the playoffs. And I think that that says a lot about him, his regime, and what his mindset is. It's not about the first round of the playoffs. It's about winning Super Bowls. And I think if I'm a Bears fan, obviously you look back and say, damn, we should have let the Vikings win. We would have beat them easily. But that only works this year. That doesn't establish a further line of success down the years to come. And I think that's what Matt Nagy did by beating the Vikings and allowing the Super Bowl champs in the playoffs. Now, it might not look good for this year, but what he's establishing in that locker room is more important in the long run. And the last game I want to get to is the Chargers and the Ravens. Now, the Chargers and the Ravens played 2 weeks ago in Los Angeles, in which the Ravens beat Los Angeles. The Ravens moved the ball pretty well, and Lamar Jackson went off. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is the electric quarterback for the Ravens, the rookie who really runs the ball, runs the read options, single wing, all that, really pound the ball. The Ravens have the #1 rush attack in the NFL. And the Chargers went into Baltimore and they shut it down. You know, and to me, as far as the AFC is concerned, the two best defenses in the AFC are the Ravens and the Chargers. The Chargers are a very underrated defense. Obviously, the Bears were the #1 defense in the NFL. The Bears are ferocious. But when you go to the AFC side of the ball, you look at the Ravens, who they played, and you look at the Chargers. They're the two best defenses. The Chargers just have a great front that really gets after the quarterback. Two great pass rushers in Bosa and Melvin Ingram. And they have all the secondary. And that's what we're going to talk about, because that secondary shut down the best running attack in the game, shut down Lamar Jackson. And before I get into the Chargers, I want to talk about Lamar Jackson. Now, he looked terrible. He looked absolutely boxed. And as people were clamoring, go back to Flacco for this game. And what John Harbaugh did and what the Ravens did was let the world know that Flacco is not going to be a Raven next year. Flacco is not in the plans. They didn't want to bench their future quarterback, you know, just for that game. It goes kind of back to the Matt Nagy situation and instilling a future in the Ravens. And what they did by that was instilling the confidence in Lamar Jackson that you are our future. You are our quarterback no matter through thick and thin. If you're going to have a bad game, you're going to lose this playoff. You were going to get knocked out of the playoffs this game because our offense got bagged and because you got bagged. We're not going to steer away from you because you are who we want to lead us for the next 10 years. And they sent that message loud and clearly to the rest of the NFL that Flacco will be with another team next year. I'm not the biggest Flacco fan. Obviously, he went off in the playoffs. Anytime, I believe when he won the Super Bowl, he threw 11 touchdowns and no interceptions. And he definitely had a great postseason. And he deserved to get paid because of that. You know, you bring a Super Bowl to Baltimore, you deserve to get paid, especially when he performed that well in the playoffs. But since then, it's been downhill. And that contract also has hampered the Ravens a lot. But like I said, so they instilled that confidence that Lamar Jackson is their future. So no matter how bad it got that Sunday, they did not pull him and put Flacco in the game because they're thinking about the future. They're putting their confidence in Lamar Jackson in the future. Worked out well. But what I want to get into about this game, obviously, and this will bring in the what would a Madden player do, because we talk about how does Madden go into football so much, and one of the biggest topics this year has been EA has allowed us to position sub DBs pretty much in every defensive formation and for linebackers. So you can easily run a 3-3-5 set with all safeties. You can run a dollar with all safeties. You can run nickel normal with 2 safeties at the linebacker spot. You can run a bunch of different things at the linebacker spot as far as safeties, you know. And one of the biggest topics was how these safeties perform against the run. How do they play against the run? And I feel like it's kind of split down the middle as far as what people want and what people want the safeties to be able to do. But the biggest argument is that safety should not hold up against the run. And the argument has gotten so bad in the last couple years that Madden 17, when I won a belt, when I won a lot of money, you were able to run quarters, you were able to run dollar, you were able to run dime, a bunch of these defenses against the run. Because at the end of the day, they still had, you know, a good front, 3 front. They had two nickel backs that against certain formations deuce close or some jumbo or even I-form big, the nickelbacks played like outside linebackers, and then your two linebackers were the inside linebackers. So you could run dollar, you could run quarters against these bigger sets and still be successful, because they just kind of, essentially, these DBs took the places of linebackers. That's pretty much what they did, and so what happened is, in the Madden 18, they installed this feature where, because you have 7 DBs on the field, or you have 6 DBs on the field, which is really what 6 DBs is all you need to get pancaked. Not get blocked well, get everybody fall on the ground that bad, because you have that many DBs on the field. Just because you have DBs, it doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter if there's 5 of them in the box or 12 of them in the box. It doesn't matter. They're going to get pancaked just because you have DBs on the field. And what the Chargers did, if I bring up this, where's it at? Boom. Right here. I bring this up. You bring this up on the screen. This is just Twitter. You go ahead, you can search here. You can search Chargers DBs. That's pretty much what it is. This is, they ran 7 DBs they didn't have a single linebacker on the field the entire game. And they boxed the Ravens, if you watch the Ravens are just read option, power the ball ahead, use the quarterback run. They're pretty much a pure power running team. Right? That's all they ran was 7 DBs. Now, if you did this in Madden, if you put 7 DBs on the field, which I did in Madden 17, which I did in Madden 16, if you did this in Madden, your people would fall all over the floor. Your big D tackle, DNs, your Melvin Ingram and your Joey Bosa's would fall all over the field. Because for some reason in the game now, if you have DBs in the field, or if you come out in a DB set, then your players will get pancaked. Now, so as far as I'm concerned, this entire game where the Chargers boxed the run this well with 7 DBs, this should be the only argument anybody that wants DBs to stop the run should have. As far as I'm concerned, I can just show you this one game, and it can end all discussions as far as if safeties can stop the run. If you can stop the run with 7 DBs on the field. It's something I said could be done from the beginning of time. That's pretty much how I stopped the run in Madden 17, was with 6 DBs on the field, 3 D linemen, and 2 linebackers. Now, the Chargers had 4 linemen and 7 DBs. I always felt like if they played the right space, they took up their right assignment, they could stop the run. And people just take it too far and think that, they should really get blown off the ball. And now, obviously, a DB should get blocked fairly well by an offensive lineman if the offensive lineman is quick enough to engage with them. One of the biggest things with offensive linemen is when they're guarding somebody faster or quicker, that person can get around them, can evade them a little bit more. But if an offensive tackle gets their hands on a DB, yes, they should get blocked fairly well and not be able to shed. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But just because my DB isn't able to shed doesn't mean my D tackle or my DN should get pancaked. Now, I'll bring you this. Obviously, my buddy Zan is the main one that, contradicts my opinion on safety stopping the run. I feel like you should be able to stop any run with safeties in dollar quarters if they play the right assignments. That's pretty much what I think. And what Zan posted, which we'll go here, is just the pictures of this. And he says pretty much because they have enough people in the box, it doesn't count as safety stopping the run. That's pretty much what he said. I mean, so if you did this in Madden, you would get pancaked. It doesn't matter how close you put these guys, all this, and honestly, this is Derwin James, I believe, right here on the edge right here. So this is a stretch for in the box because he's actually outside this little tight end slot guy. But this is your 4 down lineman or your 3 down lineman and your 2 linebackers or nickel backs or whatever the hell. They're people at the end of the day. Whether they're 180 pounds or 280 pounds, they're still people that have to be accounted for. That's the biggest thing. Just because they're smaller or they can get blocked, they can they're not as strong, they still have to be blocked. Because any one of these guys can come in and make a tackle. So just because you put more people in here doesn't change the fact that they're small and they're not strong and they have to be blocked. That's what I don't understand. So for me, all these sets, all these pictures, now obviously this is like nickel 3-5 odd, pretty much, honestly. If you just do cover 3, you don't baseline. Say this is your other safety right here. These are your 3 linebackers. That's your 3 down linemen, essentially. Or this is your nickel. This is your strong safety. This is your 3 down linemen, and that's your 3 linebackers. 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 5 is out here. It's really no different. It's the same thing. You know, like I said again. So we'll put this as your strong safety. This guy's the nickel. If you didn't baseline, this is where they would be in nickel 3-3-5 odd. This is your 3 down lineman. We'll count that guy as a linebacker, and these are your 2 linebackers. I subbed in my Ron Parker and my Apke. Now, these guys aren't blowing up the linemen, but they'll play their gap assignments and they'll play their read option assignments. And these guys all have to still be blocked. I don't understand why this, and obviously this did hold up against the run. They absolutely boxed the Ravens, who were the #1 ranked rushing offense in the NFL, and it was absolutely boxed. Where's the other one? That really looks like a 3-3-5 odd. Boom. So here we go. We're going to say it again. This is your 3 down lineman, 3-3-5 odd. This is your outside linebacker. This is your nickel back. This is your looper here. This is your user, and say this is your strong safety. That's all it is. I don't see why it can't just be compared to 3-3-5 odd. And I put 2 safeties at linebacker and my strong safeties right here that came down in the box. Now, I need to understand why this isn't, I mean, what's the difference between this and 3-3-5 odd with Apke, or if I put, whoever the hell I put. These guys aren't, I think is Jalil, what's his name? Jalil Adai was this 31 or one of these, he's one of the, I think he's the guy with the dreads, yeah, Adai. So to me, as far as, this is 3-3-5 odd. 3 down linemen, outside linebacker, strong safety, 2 inside linebackers. This is your nickel. And he wouldn't, if this was the formation and you didn't baseline, he'd be standing right there. So right now you have three down linemen. I'll give you this guy as a 4th linebacker or lineman. These guys are all safeties, just like in Madden. Absolutely box the run. And that's my only point, man. Just because they're safeties doesn't mean they have to get pancaked. Doesn't mean, and this guy, say this Joey Bosa right here. Joey, we all know Joey Bosa. He's a dog in Madden, dog in real life. And just because he has small, skinny guys behind him doesn't mean he gets pancaked, ever. What would change his, why would he say, you know, I'm going to get pancaked this play just because I have Jalil Adai behind me and another safety? No, that's crazy to me. I just think this just, I don't think there can be, after this game, I don't think there can be an argument that safeties can't hold up and run. That's all. You know, obviously, if all these guys were sitting back here at 20 yards off the ball, yeah, maybe they should run a little bit better. But it's the same principle. And that even if I take 2 of these guys out of the box, the 3 guys I have in the box are still fast enough to shoot a gap, fast enough to get to the outside. Because at the end of the day, these linemen are good, but they're slow. So if they go a double team here and they're expecting to get up to that guy to block them, this guy can be fast enough to get around that and get to the running back. As what you lack in strength and you know, block shed, you really make up for in speed. Also, if these guys are back further, you know, that just means they also can close and get to the ball a lot faster. I've always wanted as much speed on the field as possible in Madden, not only to stop the run, but if they check into a pass, you have the speed out there to man people up, to cover people, to get to the flats, to make tackles. When the ball is caught, they can swarm. It's always better to have speed, and the Chargers showed you that speed can absolutely cancel out power if used correctly, if y'all play together and you do your job. That's what I always did when I'm stopping the run out of dollar. When you stop the run out nickel 3-3-5 odd with safeties, you can stop the run with smaller, lighter people if you play your assignment, do your job, and know how to stop the run. It's not going to stop it by themselves. These guys didn't just line up and just run past everybody. Each one of these guys had an assignment. Each one of these guys knew what they had to do before the snap, and they got it done. That is why they stopped the run. No matter what their size is, what their strength is, they were able to blow up this run. Because right now I see a lot of fat guys. 5 linemen. Look at these 2 hogs right here, these tight ends. I mean, Andrews, I forget the other fellow's name. But these dudes, and then just running back. I mean, then you got Lamar Jackson, who's, you know, he's not Michael Vick, but he's certainly a notch right below Michael Vick. So they definitely box this with 3-3-5 odd or nickel normal, whatever this may be. It's just single high safety, boom. Everybody's in the box just like it would be with 3-3-5 odd. You know, it's just, after this, I can honestly say I don't want to hear an argument about safeties being able to stop the run, because it's clear We have a clear-cut example of an entire game where there was no linebackers on the field and the offense didn't get anything going on the ground. Not only did they not just run out of 3 wide receiver sets, this is power eye. This is strong eye right here with a pistol. Pistol strong eye is all this is. So they were in the heaviest run sets they could be in and still couldn't get any yards. So as far as the DBs being able to stop the run, it's definitely something that I feel like is no more argument anymore. We have a clear-cut example, and I have no example of DBs not being able to stop the run. So this is all I will reference anybody to for the rest of my life when they complain about DBs stopping the run in different sets. This is pretty much all the footage that I need. Now, also, I personally don't like being able to sub safeties into linebackers. I feel like it cheapens the game. I feel like it removes a lot of strategy, a lot of team picking. Even the Chiefs were used in the Madden Classic. Skimble used the Chiefs to win the Madden Classic. Now, he had 2 linebackers where he subbed in just backing up safeties. It was like Lucas and somebody else. And for me, it cheapens the team. Because if you can just sub safeties in a linebacker spot, it removes the picking the team because of an Anthony Barr, because of a Roquan Smith, somebody that can really lurk over the middle in a linebacker position, because you can just put any old bozo with 90 speed in there and they'll do all right. Also, as far as salary cap's concerned, if you could not sub safeties in a linebacker, it would change the game astronomically. Instead of being able to put the 20 cap Apgear, 20 cap Ron Parker, or even like 30 cap players, you would have to spend 40, 50 cap on a linebacker that you would like to lurk with. And it would change people's teams. It would change their lineups. And it really removes linebacker cards and what to begin with. I feel like if you're playing with linebackers, you're just doing it wrong. There's such an opportunity for you to get a Derwin James, a Sean Taylor, a Cam Chancellor, Brian Dawkins, people like that to go ahead and play in the box for you rather than a slower, bigger linebacker. It's definitely something you should try to take advantage of if you're not already putting linebackers as safety, because they're just that much more versatile. Whether you're slow or fast, a blocker still has to account for you. And that's what the Ravens had to account for all these DBs. And it was probably a nightmare for these fat guys, Marshall Yanda and Ronnie Stanley, I believe, is the left tackle, for them to be able to get out there and block somebody that quick and that agile. Obviously, they weren't able to do it. But so make sure you guys are getting whatever linebackers like a Derwin James, who not only is fast and quick, but is a little strong, can definitely tackle and definitely block shed a little bit. He's definitely the reason why, part of the reason why you're able to run this many DBs. Because right now, in this picture right here, you see him. He's the one setting the edge. So it's definitely an advantage to have that type of player on the field. But those type of players are available in much, starting with Derwin James. Like I said, Dawkins, Steve Atwater, Sean Taylor, obviously, are great players. Ronnie Lott's another one you can put in the box to really shed and tackle and stuff like that. So, like I said, take advantage of that. If you're not using those guys, I think you're behind, especially in salary cap, when you can use the Bobos, Ron Parker, Troy Apke, those guys that won't get off the block, but they are fast enough to get around some of the blocks and definitely chase down your running back if your front holds up enough to get him running sideways. But like I said, I don't want to hear any more about the DBs stopping the run. It's a clear example of they are capable of doing it. If they play assignment football, they get their job done, and they have the speed and the knowledge and the preparedness to get after the ball carrier. That's definitely what they did today, or what they did on Sunday to stop the run. Now, as we move on to the divisional round, these San Diego Chargers, I think we all say San Diego Chargers. We all go and make that mistake now. But they are the Los Angeles Chargers now. But they will be going into Foxborough to play the New England Patriots. Defending AFC champion New England Patriots is definitely an interesting game, because we all kind of get the feeling that the Patriots dynasty is kind of dwindling down. It's kind of getting there. Belichick's been there a long time. Brady is getting old. Every time they see, every game you kind of see, you could point to something as why Brady's getting old, an example of why Brady's getting old. And we'll see if it comes to an end this week. I really felt like if the Texans lost, which they did, the Colts won, then the winner of this game between the Ravens and the Chargers was going to Foxborough. I really felt like either team's going to have a huge advantage in Foxborough. When I think about Chargers and Patriots, I think about the game where Phillip Rivers played with like no knee and LaDainian Tomlinson sat out the game. I don't know, that was probably 10 years ago now. But it really was, that's the memory I have of Phillip Rivers not being afraid of any Belichick or Brady, going toe-to-toe with him that whole game on one leg. And that's when I kind of really started falling in love with Phillip Rivers. He's probably one of the biggest competitors in the NFL. He's not afraid of anything. He's a leader, and he's got heart, man, and that's something you need in a quarterback position. So I think the Chargers go up there and get the job done. They showed they can put all these DBs on the field. They have these two freak pass rushers. You know where Brady's going to be in the pocket. You know he's not going to be scrambling around. He's not going to be moving. He's not Lamar Jackson. You know, Bosa and Ingram can pin their ears back and go get the quarterback. They have all these versatile DBs that can play linebacker, can play zone, can play man. They definitely have probably the best defense left in the playoffs right now is the San Diego Chargers. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for an aging Tom Brady and an aging Patriots dynasty. So I got to go ahead and pick Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. I think they're going to go in there and make the upset. I think they're really hot. I think the Patriots are due to crumble down, man. I think they've been the best team in the NFL for probably the last 20 years, I'll say, or at least 16, 17 years. And what they were able to do has pretty much never been seen for a run that long to win. Obviously, the division has helped them astronomically. The division being that bad has helped them win so many divisions, get so many first-round buys, but they've really capitalized on it. But I think they're going to lose to the San Diego Chargers, man. After coming off that win in Baltimore, Chargers are hot. Like I said, Phillip Rivers isn't afraid of anything. He's going to go ahead in there, and he's going to get the job done against Tom Brady and company, man. So that's definitely my pick for that game. As we move on to the NFC game, or let's go to the other AFC game. The other AFC game I talked about, the Colts going to Kansas City. This is a huge game. Last time I remember the Colts going to Kansas City was Peyton Manning against the Tony Gonzalez Kansas City Chiefs with Trent Green and Priest Holmes, and then back when the Chiefs were balling, and Peyton Manning went in there and won with Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and them. But it's completely different Chiefs now. Patrick Mahomes, I think, should be the MVP of the league. It's obviously between him and Breeze. But when you really look at the numbers that Mahomes has put up, it's really just I think that's what tips the scale in the favor of Mahomes. For a man to throw 50 touchdown passes in a season, it's only been done 2 other times between Brady and Peyton Manning, who are 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks of all time. So for Mahomes to get the 50 touchdown pass thing and really just have a huge year, I think he has to be the front runner for MVP. And then you have Andrew Luck. I talked about them earlier in the show. Andrew Luck, their offensive line, the wide receivers, the coach Frank Wright, Marlon Mack, really balling right now. The defense, the front, the linebackers. Darius Leonard is probably one of the most underrated players in the NFL. He hasn't talked about a lot, but he stormed on the scene as a young linebacker, and he's a stud. So, I mean, in this game, I still got to go with Mahomes, man. At some point in me being an Eagle fan this long, you always think Andy Reid's going to ruin something. He's going to mess up. He's going to choke and clock management, a tight game. But I think in the first round here, I think he's going to get it done. Mahomes, Tyreek Hill is an absolute game changer. Kelsey, and we'll see what they're doing with the running back situations. Obviously, since Kareem Hunt got suspended and booted off the team, we'll see what they do. But I definitely got to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. So that would leave us with a San Diego Chargers at Kansas City Chiefs for the the AFC Championship. That's what I predict will happen, man. Kansas City versus Los Angeles Chargers in Kansas City. That's going to be a crazy game. And as far as the NFC, man, we got the Dak Prescott-led Dallas Cowboys. Those guys are going into Los Angeles to play the Rams with Jared Goff, man. I don't like the Cowboys, and I hated them even more after they got their little win against the Seahawks. But this is honestly a great opportunity for the Cowboys to make the NFC Championship game. The biggest reason why is because I feel, as crazy as it sounds, I feel the Cowboys will have a bigger home field advantage in L.A. than they actually do in Dallas. I think because Jerry World is such a tourist attraction, it doesn't have the same type of home field advantage as most teams have. And LA doesn't really have a fan base. And the Cowboys practice out in LA. It's really, and Cowboys obviously probably still the biggest fan base in the country as far as the NFL is concerned. So they're definitely going to fill that building up, the LA Coliseum. I would probably tell you it's probably going to be 60 to 70% Cowboys fans, and it's going to be rocking for the Cowboys. I think they're on a roll. They're really hot, and Jared Goff is improving. You know, even McVay is improving. They're 0-1 in the playoffs. I feel like Goff could lay down. The Cowboys' defense is really strong. If they get a good game out of DeMarco Lawrence, and you know those guys up front, Randy Gregory, Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith, who just was an absolute steal when they took him in the draft. When he hurt his knee, he fell so far. That dude is a stud. The defense is playing really well, so I think they're really. I mean, if they can run the ball, Dak Prescott make a couple plays to Amari Cooper, I think the Cowboys can win this game. I mean, I don't know if I want to pick them. I don't want to pick them. I really don't. But part of me I really don't trust Goff. I got to pick the Cowboys, man. I think the Cowboys are going to go in there, upset the Rams, knock them out. And if McVay and Goff are 0-2 in the playoffs, man, that's a bad look for them. I think the Cowboys are hot. I mean, the Cowboys are probably the hottest team in the NFL right now. They won 8 of the last 9 games. And the only game they lost to was the Colts, who's another hot team right now. So I'm going to pick the Cowboys to go in there. Now, next we got the game of the week. We have the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles going into New Orleans, which is the second hardest home away stadium to play in. I think the rank goes Seattle #1, New Orleans #2, and Kansas City #3. I think those are the top 3 toughest stadiums to play in. And the Eagles are going to New Orleans to play in New Orleans, a place where they got beat 48-7 just, I want to say, 2 months ago or a month ago. And that's when it looked like the Eagles season was done. It looked like they were done. They quit, and people were questioning the coach, questioning the team. We were so hurt on injuries in the defensive backfield. We still are so hurt on injuries in the defensive backfield. The Eagles are down 4 of their starting 5 DBs. They're out. They're not playing. Pretty much everybody we have in the defensive backfield is a super reserve. Excuse me. So, in order for the Eagles to go ahead and win, it just shows you how momentum can change, man. The Eagles were as bad as could be a month ago or whatever in New Orleans, and now they're, like I said, they're probably the second hottest team in the league behind Dallas. They've beat so many good teams in the last month, so the Eagles are definitely a different team. They have that underdog feel again. They have that us against the world feel again, and Nick Foles has that Foles magic. He has the magic to make a kick, hit 2 uprights, or hit the upright, then the crossbar, and go off, a double doink. So the Foles magic is real. It's definitely something that's going to propel the Eagles. They definitely play harder for him. They play more together, and for some reason, the coach just calls a better game. Now, I can think back to when they played in New Orleans. They needed to win. New Orleans obviously is one of the best offenses in the league, with one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Drew Brees. Probably a top 5 quarterback without a doubt. And I will remember the first game this year against the Saints. The Eagles got the ball to start the game. And they went 3 plays. They got to 4th and inches. I don't care where it was on the field, 4th and inches. I wanted the Eagles to go for it. I want to say they had got 1 first down. So it wasn't like at the 30-yard line. It was probably like the 40-yard line, where they could have went for it on the first drive, but instead they punted the ball to Brees. I felt like if the Eagles, they were there to win, they know who they're up against, they got to score points, they got to set a tone, I would have went for that 4th and inches on the first drive. I don't care where it was. 4th and that short, you got to go ahead and get that, because you have to score points against the Saints. You have to play to win. You have to, go in there and show that you're going to put points on the board. And I think when the Eagles punted that ball, it really set the tone to that they weren't ready to win. So we'll see. I want them to change the tone. I want them to go after and go win the game. I want Doug Peterson to be all the way back and really be locked in on this game. And I think they will. The attitude of the team has changed. I'm going to pick the Eagles. You already knew I was going to pick the Eagles regardless. Regardless who they're playing, I want to pick the Eagles. And so what that would set up is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys for the NFC Championship. And that would be unreal. And I would find some way to get into that stadium if that happened, man. It would be awesome for everybody involved, awesome for the Eagles fans, awesome for Cowboys fans. It would really be an epic week. Never had a game like that big against the Cowboys. To have a championship game going to two divisional rivals would be awesome. And so that's like I said. So I got the Chargers and I got the Chiefs in the AFC. So I got Chargers at Chiefs next week. It is the late game, and I got Eagles at Cowboys, man. That would be crazy. 2 division matchups for the championships. And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But I did pick the Seahawks, the Texans, and the Ravens. All 3 of those teams lost, so I was 1-3 last week. So take it for a grain of salt on my picks. You know I'm going to pick the Eagles regardless, so it would be dope to see the Eagles versus the Cowboys, and definitely going to be good to see the Chargers go into Kansas City and play the Chiefs under the Arrowhead Stadium, which I told you is probably the 3rd hardest stadium to play in. But like I said, I'm really anxious to see those games this weekend. Like I said, do not argue anymore about DBs being on the field. I want to put, if I could put 11 DBs on the field, I would put 11 DBs on the field. Also, man, like I said, prepare what you're gonna wear for the live event in 2 weeks down there in Las Vegas. Make sure you guys bring something nice. First of all, I want to comment on this on the dress code again. You should be bringing a pair of dress pants or at least a nice pair of jeans to Vegas anyway. So many people come to Vegas without the proper attire to wear when you go out. If anybody's been to Vegas with me, I always have a suit to wear when I go out. Not necessarily a suit and tie. Last time I just wear a button up and then the jacket and then my suit jacket and my suit pants and everything. But you always have to dress, you know, like you're grown up when you go to Las Vegas. It's you know, probably the most expensive city in the world. So I mean, you really have to go out there and look the part. If you're not going to look the part, you might as well stay in the hotel the whole time and practice running corner strike against the computer, man. So definitely you should, regardless of if there's a dress code in Madden or not, you should have a nice pair of pants, a nice outfit for when you go to Vegas, man. It's not going to Raleigh, North Carolina, or you know, Youngstown, Ohio, or something like that. So for a Madden tournament, you're going to Las Vegas, man. It's big money out there, man. So look the part. Look mature, look good. You got to have some go out outfit, man. You guys, a lot of the Madden community disappoints me with what they bring to Las Vegas, because like I said, I'm the opposite. I will always have a suit. If you see me going out at night in Las Vegas, I'm definitely at least going to have a jacket on and look the part, man, because you know, you don't want to be the person that looks like a bum. You know, you don't want to be that person. You want to be the person with sweatpants and a t-shirt on in Las Vegas. And that's what a lot of you guys bring. So, word from Dubby, man, make sure you guys pack something nice to wear in Vegas, whether it be for just going out or whether it really be for the Madden event, which you guys are going to have to wear some slacks now and everything. So, fly Eagles fly. We had the Saints this week. Like I said, I'm predicting the upset. Nicky Foles. Foles magic is all the way back. So, I really appreciate all you guys coming by, checking out This Was Needed podcast episode 12. Talked about the dress code. That's pretty much was the main thing that went on in MCS. Next week, we're going to talk about who my favorites are for winning each club coming up here in the end of January. So we're going to go through each club that hasn't been won already. I'm going to give you my pick. We'll make record of it. Make sure if I can get 32 out of 32 left. I appreciate you guys coming by, and I'm out of here. Thank you.
Now I'm on the edge, so don't push me. Troublesome 96. You a shook one, breathe easy, know the ledge. I'm your pusher. What's that? I smell